Hello dear friends. A battle is a set of offensive actions aimed at achieving an objective. In the Chronicles of Narnia, the last battle narrates struggle between the last king of Narnia and the few loyal Narnians against the traitors. During the last days of Narnia, the country faces its greatest challenge, not an external invader, but an internal enemy. Lies and treachery have taken root, and only the king and a small band of loyal followers can prevent the destruction of all. The metaphor of the lion is used to describe God's holy roar that shakes the nations, but it is a loving, righteous, and winning roar. Opinion piece. The lion roars. The last battle. Enduring to the end. The lion doesn't sleep tonight. The Netherlands has more gas than Russia. Forensic election audit in Brazil. Humankind is a sleeping giant. Brazil's military intervention called for. Strange phenomena happened in the skies. Chinese rockets next uncontrollable crash. Europe warming more than twice the global average. Mysterious gold buyers at central banks. Russia resumes participation in food deal. Europe has been preparing a global gold standard since the 70s. Let's start. This is the apocalypse. We are in the last battle. We are fighting for the salvation of humankind. We all knew this was coming. Let's do this together. The nationalists and the globalists are at war, and the awakening is about to happen. A new day is coming. The world awaits the dawn. Humankind is a sleeping giant that is awakening now as it manifests its collective free will that increases its power in a sweeping geometric progression, so that nothing and no one can slow or stop its progress, says Ranra. The blackout announced by John O'Savin on 29th or 30th October turned out to be false. The Treasury has asked banks to prepare for the announcement of the new gold-backed dollar sometime this week. Towards the end of this week, perhaps an announcement will be made that the new dollar would be asset-backed, allowing it to participate in a global financial restart or reset. During this time and before next Thursday, November 8th, the day of the midterm elections, major events are likely to occur around the world, including the arrest of Trump. This could overturn the midterm elections and instigate planned riots in major cities around the world. Mark Seda writes that most sources say it will happen, in quotes, everything. It will happen between Thursday 3rd November and Friday 11th November. The bankers are very excited. They think there will be a launch. On Thursday 20th October, it is said currency revaluation took place when the currencies of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and 18 other countries secretly backed themselves in gold and assets. But we have no evidence of this. Most senior experts agree that it would be unavoidably collapse the Western financial system. The money has run out. Stock market investors have been advised to hold their nose and sell. RV conjecture by CHR. The China-Taiwan problem mess has not yet started. If the Russia conflict has been going on for close to 9 months now, it would make the most sense to leave currency revaluation until all the troublesome messes to come are over. Postponing the RV until 2025 would make life very difficult for the poor all of 2023 and part of 2024 because of inflation. It has been said that VR or RV could happen before or in the middle of the inflation period, as they said that if they released RV after the inflation period, it would take decades for the world to recover. I guess if they don't release by March or April 2023, depending on inflation and the economic slump, it would be more likely to be delayed until 2025 because of what was said with the global mess in 23 and 24. But I don't think it will take that long. Some really strange things are starting to happen in the skies, such as the total lunar eclipse of the blood moon on election day. On 8th November, we will witness a total lunar eclipse on election day for the first time in history. The next time that a total lunar eclipse will occur on election day will be 372 years from now on Tuesday, 8th November 2394. Blood moons are associated with war, but that doesn't mean it will happen. Against Trump. Donald Trump sends a message that he is ready for battle. Trump sends a message that the economy is heading for catastrophe. In quotes, fasten your seatbelt and get ready. The Republican Party was preparing for an impeachment of Trump shortly after Election Day in order to stop him, and all the paperwork has already been done. Such chaos could be a false flag to take over until peace can be secured. They want Trump supporters to be angry in the end. Justice orders top officials to testify for alleged social media collusion. The reporting on Trump seems to be pure circus, hake and theater at the moment, since they give so many dates and times that are consistently false. I see it as a brainwashing and a distraction for the followers of currency revaluation. Conspiracy theories gain momentum after the attack on Paul Pelosi. Armed forces. Reserve troops were called up across the country to be available in 70 cities for possible military law enforcement at a later date. Washington, D.C. is empty. No troops on the streets. The army remains silent for now. The U.S. military turns off the transponders on its aircraft. A new report to Congress says half of UFO sightings are unexplained. U.S. and Saudi Arabia on high alert after warning of imminent Iranian attack. Ukraine war would be a new route to the Great Reset at Davos, and China would be the social model for globalists. Spain recruits 250 volunteer reservists for the armed forces in the categories of officer, non-commissioned officer, and troops and sailors. The Ministry of Defense has called for a selection process to incorporate a total of 250 volunteer reservists into the armed forces to be distributed among the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Common Corps. Economy. Egypt disassociates itself from the petrodollar. Russia announces its independence from the dollar. The US Congress has told Fed Chairman Jerome Powell that he has gone too far with raising interest rates and that he should concentrate on making sure the labor market maintains maximum employment. Dogecoin cryptocurrency rises more than 15% in 24 hours. Precious metals. 10-year yield plummets overnight and silver takes off. Silver supply remains extremely tight. Nations are moving away from the dollar and gold is re-establishing itself as a monetary asset. most of the world's money is moving into physical precious metals. Europe has been preparing a global gold standard since the 70s, says Jan Nieuwenhuis. This is more evidence of how European central banks are matching their gold monetary reserves as a proportion of gross domestic product. GDP. Secret agreements make countries sell or buy gold to balance reserves within Europe in relation to large economies abroad. Evenly distributed gold reserves are a prerequisite for a stable transition to a gold standard whereby, at the same time, the debt overhang can be extinguished. Europe has been preparing for this restart. Who are the mystery gold buyers at central banks? Central banks bought a record amount of gold in the last quarter to diversify their foreign currency reserves from mystery buyers, according to Eddie Spence in Yahoo Finance. Central banks picked up nearly 400 tons of gold in the third quarter, more than 4 times the amount of a year earlier, according to the World Gold Council. That brings the year-to-date total to the highest since 1967, when the dollar was still backed by gold. Bullion prices have been pressured this year by aggressively rising interest rates as the Fed tackles rising inflation, prompting exchange-traded fund investors to sell the non-yielding asset, but support has come from other areas such as retail buyers in Asia and central banks. Central banks, including Turkey and Qatar, are among the recent buyers, as well as undeclared purchases from institutions which the World Gold Council said amount to a substantial estimate. Not all countries report their gold purchases regularly, including major ones such as China and Russia. Americas. In Brazil, they are doing a forensic audit of their election results. Demonstrations and blockades continue in Brazil against the election results. In Rio de Janeiro, warehouses of the main food distribution center were set on fire, leading to riots accompanied by food looting. Thousands of Bolsonarists rally in front of barracks to call for military intervention. The demonstrators disagree with the victory of Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in last Sunday's elections. Bolsonarists persist in protest and call for military intervention to annul elections. Despite the Brazilian military police disarming 147 roadblocks in Sao Paulo, many columns of Bolsonaro supporters persist on the side of the roads and blocking some lanes, calling for military intervention to annul the election result. Thousands of Bolsonaro supporters demand in Rio that the military take power in Brazil. They gathered in front of the army headquarters in the center of Rio de Janeiro, southeast, calling for a military coup to prevent Lula da Silva from taking power. With shouts like "Federal intervention now" and banners like "Armed Forces Save Our Brazil," the demonstrators questioned the result of the elections. Brazil's governors mobilized their military police to remove roadblocks imposed by supporters of President Bolsonaro after the politician's defeat in Sunday's election. Colombians will pay the most expensive fuel in history. Alarming situation denounced in Colombia due to forced disappearances on the border with Venezuela. So far this year, there have been 295 homicides in the Colombian department of Arauca, where violence has not ceased since 2021. Horror in Ecuador. Criminal gangs hang bodies on pedestrian crossings. Police and armed forces of Ecuador arrest 28 people involved in attacks and crimes of agents. Europe. Temperatures in Europe are rising at more than twice the global average. The German government will pay households December gas bills and cap the price in 2023. Germany is now backtracking on the new Green Deal, phasing out windmills and replacing them with coal plants. Poland cordons off its border with Kaliningrad over suspicions of emigration waves. British households will face a harsh winter despite subsidies, says National Grid. Plant closures and relocations. The energy crisis undermines Europe's industrial capacity. The problem particularly affects energy-intensive sectors such as metallurgy, chemicals and fertilizers production. The world's longest trains complete a record-breaking journey in the Swiss Alps. It consists of 100 carriages and is almost 2 kilometers long. Casualty or chance. Germany has a contract with Russia for the delivery of gas from Russia at a very good price, and even if they don't take the gas, the money has to be paid anyway according to the contract. The only way out of this contract was by force majeure, such as a clandestine attack on the pipeline. Days later, the owner and head of the pipeline maintenance company and his family disappear in their plane over the North Sea. Days later, the pipeline explodes. A minute later, the British Prime Minister tells the US Foreign Secretary, in quotes, "It's done." And days later, the police chief inspector investigating what was done to the pipeline is killed by a honeybee attack. He dies within minutes and is incinerated only 2 hours later so that no one can analyze the poison. Have you ever wondered where Europe used to get its gas from before there was a pipeline from Russia? It was from the Netherlands. Their gas resources go beyond the Russians, but the exploitation of the gas caused some damage to houses, some of it major. So the Green Party and the Democrats took advantage of that and closed the field with that argument. There is 1 trillion of gas in one field, and it could be opened at any time, and paying people for some minor or major damage to some houses should not be a problem compared to the destruction of the industry in Europe. It looks like it won't take long for things to explode. Nord Stream AG, the operator of the Nord Stream pipelines, found artificial craters 3 to 5 meters deep at the site of the sabotage against its branches. The company added that the section of pipeline between them had completely collapsed. Russia resumes participation in the food deal after receiving assurances from Ukraine. Asia. India talks about Russian oil, in quotes, will still buy only a quarter of what Europe buys in a single afternoon. China bets on nuclear power and accelerates reactor construction. China's Long March 5B rocket is about to fall uncontrollably. Uncertainty over where the large debris will land poses risks to humankind's safety. The 22.5 metric ton core of the Chinese rocket is expected to make an uncontrolled entry into Earth in the next few days. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.